I do want to apologize for starting late, and my computer is frozen, so I'll just use the hard copy like the old days. Bear with me. But if you would all join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. So we're still frozen. The mission of this, but welcome anyway. The mission of the City School District of Albany is to educate and prepare all students for college and career, citizenship and life in partnership with our diverse community. I now turn it over to Mrs. Queed Adams for the superintendent's report.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. I'd like to start just by saying after a busy summer, the 2017-2018 school year is almost here. Staff throughout the district have returned to their buildings and classrooms today to prepare to welcome our students when they begin the new year on Tuesday. I'm excited to greet all of you, all of our staff tomorrow morning for our annual convocation, our official kickoff for this school year. We will be at the Empire State Plaza Convention Center for this year's convocation. It will be an excellent venue for us to begin our work together on behalf of all of our 9,700 students and their families. School begins on Tuesday for our pre-kindergarten through 9th graders. Albany High will hold its first annual Freshman First Day on Tuesday to give our newest high school students a chance to learn their way around the building. The first day for all students at Albany High School will be next Wednesday. It will truly be a brand new year for students and staff at 3 of our buildings: Albany International Center, Edmund J. O'Neill Middle School of Excellence, and the new home of our alternative education program at 395 Elk Street. We had a wonderful ribbon cutting ceremony for the Albany International Center yesterday at North Albany Academy. This new program is such a tremendous addition for our school district. It will be a great benefit to our entire community and especially our refugee and immigrant families. Principal Rachel Stead and her family and her staff, supported by Director of ENL Refugee Services Tom Giglio, have done an excellent job preparing to launch this new program. We are hard at work in preparing O'Neill Middle School to welcome students for the first day. Co-principals Malik Jones and Candy Antonetti and their staff are starting to move into the building this week. Some of the teachers are getting into their classrooms and getting everything set up for our little ones that will be coming. The classroom side of the building will be ready for the start of school, including all classrooms and the brand new cafeteria and kitchen. On the physical education side of the building, work will continue on the gymnasium through the first 3 weeks of school. The gym will be ready for our students beginning on Monday, September 25th. We are looking forward to our ribbon cutting ceremony at O'Neill Middle School on the evening of Tuesday, September 12th, and I really hope that you all will be able to join us. Finally, at 395 Elk Street, Principal Sophia Newell and her team are ready to open a new home for our alternative education programs this week. The design of the building and the redesign of our program will support many of our students, and it will be a very positive step forward. We will hear a little bit more about 395 Elk Street later on tonight. We would also like you to mark your calendars for the back-to-school block party and ribbon cutting ceremony at 395 Elk on Saturday, September 16th. I've enjoyed the opportunity to join members of our community engagement team at several of the events recently. We had a rewarding week last week with the annual back-to-school event at City Hall and the city's All-Olympics at Lincoln Park, the Divas for Christ back-to-school event at Swinburne Park, and the annual Latin Festival in Washington Park. And by the way, that was right in my front yard, and it was a lot of fun to attend that event. I also met many of our families and community members and have thoroughly enjoyed getting to know many of the folks in my new hometown. I've had the pleasure of meeting with the leaders of our 3 associations, or 3 unions. Michelle Bridgewater, Laura France, and Sonia Flowers each have a strong commitment to our students and our community, and I know that they will continue to be great partners in our work. Building partnerships with our business community has also been very important, and we look forward to continue that as we work with different members and different businesses in the area. On a related note, we are looking, Albany High's athletic events have turned into some special performances. This week, we had our boys soccer team with an impressive 6-0 win over Colony on Tuesday. Our girls swim team officially launched the new era in our new pool yesterday, and Saturday afternoon, we have our first football game at Albany High, and it is against Ballston Spa, and it begins at 1:30 p.m. And now I invite Principal Michael Panetta to step forward for a brief presentation about the great things happening here at Myers Middle School.
Thank you, Superintendent Adams. With me is my support team. To my left is my assistant principal, Ms. Tamisha Rose, and to my right is my other assistant principal, Ms. Lisa House. I'd like to read the vision and mission of Myers Middle School: to develop and support successful student academic achievement while fostering respect, responsibility, and self-empowerment. Together with dedicated staff, parental involvement, and community connections, we'll provide a culturally diverse learning environment that will enable all students to reach their full potential. The next slide has our demographics of Myers Middle School. You can see we have 682 students as of this morning when I ran the report. We're accommodating a bubble of students coming through the middle school years. You can see in the 7th grade with 326 students. Underneath that, you have the full demographics by subgroup of Myers Middle School. Myers staffing, what we've done this year is we asked for more staff in areas of English and math support, so we can more differentiate the support we give to our students at the Tier 2 and Tier 3 levels. This will help us drill down better to the students and better support our most neediest students at Myers Middle School. And of course, the rest of the staff at Myers. I want to take you through the tenets of our SEP plan and the progress that we've made and are going to make this year, and our plans to move forward. For Tenet 2, for leadership practices and decisions, our goal is to, as an administrative team, is to get to every teacher every month as a team. We then cycle back through, so each month our teachers will be getting at the minimum of 3 walkthroughs from us, in addition to any walkthroughs by the administrative level, but our goal is every teacher every single month. We're going to utilize Google Docs that it's aligned with a walkthrough document that's aligned with our SEP goals to give immediate and direct feedback to our teachers. This provides us a lot of data through our walkthroughs and helps us identify trends so we can make informed decisions moving forward. And also we'll have our monthly look-fors that are aligned for our SEP plan and our walkthroughs. For Tenet 3, for curriculum development and support, we had a major overhaul for our master schedule this year. Did a couple different things. One, it aligned to the rest of the middle schools, so we're better aligned with them, but also gives us great flexibility in terms of how we do our teaming here at Myers Middle School. We not only can do grade level teams, but also have content level teams and have the flexibility to have content specialists push in to support those teams as well throughout the week. We also created a bi-weekly schedule, a rotation schedule, aligned with the other middle schools to help get the full advantage of our other district coaches from ELA Math and our data coaches to help facilitate those meetings and take us through the data cycle. Also, they'll be doing common formative assessments to review data and to make best curricular decisions for our students to move forward. In Tenet 4, for teacher practice and decisions, we created a brand new PD committee for our teachers. Just like our students, our teachers are at different levels in their development as well, so we want to accommodate that differentiation with this. So we built a collaborative team with teachers this year to help plan these differentiated professional developments for our teachers to help them support them at their level. Also continuing through our walkthroughs to measure this progress that I spoke about for Tenet 2. We've also embedded coaches with our bi-weekly cycle, which I spoke about in Tenet 3, to look at data and also to talk about best practices inside the classroom. Tenet 5 for social and emotional development and health. A lot of different things are happening there. We started today with our big push for PBIS and training our staff this morning. We're continuing that tomorrow afternoon with our security staff and have a follow-up training already planned for September 20th. Between then and now, we're going to do our walkthroughs to see what else we need to do to help push that forward and develop this and have PBIS with fidelity at Myers Middle School. Our focus for September for our walkthroughs is PBIS to give targeted feedback to the teachers. We've embedded a behavior specialist in our team meetings to have these conversations for the Tier 1 supports for PBIS and ensure that fidelity is happening. We also have, and we're looking at data on a weekly basis where our PBIS Tier 1 team see what supports we need in specific spots. We need to adjust things or add supports in particular areas, when there might be an area of the building or a particular classroom. And of course, conducting quarterly fidelity checks that are provided by the PBIS paperwork. We also have planned reteach cycles throughout the year, not only for students, but also for staff to ensure this fidelity throughout the entire school year, and have embedded preventative strategies trainings, embedded strategy trainings for teachers to help support them and continue to reduce the referrals come out of the classrooms and keep our students in class. And finally, for Tenet 6, community engagement. This year, we asked the PTSA to collaborate with us in a book read. We both are all looking at the book Beyond the Bake Sale to help us collaborate better and have a better effective relationship and to build support through that. We have a creation of a brand new parent outreach committee in the school to help plan and develop the community engagement plan throughout the school year. We had our orientation last night and had massive signups for our SNN communication system, so hopefully that's going to help us be in better contact with our families. And we're going to continue doing that type of mass enrollment signups throughout our school year and our evening programs. We're doing sign-in sheets to keep track and have baseline for the number of parents that are attending our evening programs, and also exit tickets to get feedback to better plan and design helpful programs for our parents. And then, of course, collaborating with Parent University to make all this happen, to move forward. A couple things that we're happy about. Really happy about the master schedule. It was really a Herculean effort to get this done. I applaud my counselors to get it moving forward and to have all these changes done. It gives us a lot of flexibility. We think it's going to help lift teacher practice and have a positive impact on student achievement. We're really happy and think that our student empowerment programs are really are taking effect here. Peer mediation started last year. This will be our second full year for peer mediation, allowing students to learn lifelong skills and be part of the process here at Myers Middle School as opposed to just walking the building. Student government organization, help grow that a little bit more, focus them a little bit more, and have them be part of the conversation, and empower them to be more, have more decision-making process in the school itself. We're asking students to be on our committees this year, one in being PBIS, so they can be part of the conversation moving forward with that and help plan things and have conversations around that. So they're empowered to have that and be part of the process here at Myers. And in spite of the increases and fluctuation for our student population, we want to continue the trend of reducing our student behaviors overall and continue that trend moving forward. That is Myers Middle School at a glance and the end of our presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Panetta. Thank you, Ms. House. Thank you to Mitchell. Mrs. Adams, does that conclude your presentation? Public comment time period is now, and if Evelyn King wants to come up to the podium, I'm just going to read the statement regarding public comment as you approach. The Albany Board of Education welcomes district residents, parents, students, and other people to our meeting. Community involvement at board meetings is encouraged so that we can better understand your views. By law, individual student information and particular personnel issues cannot be discussed in public. We encourage you to share specific student or staff concerns with the superintendent or other appropriate staff. Please note that the board generally does not respond to public comment, and if you need a response, we ask that you consider contacting us via email, phone, or postal mail. When recognized by me, please state your name and city of residence. Statements are restricted to a maximum of 3 minutes, and speakers will be notified by me when their time has expired. Thank you. Ms. King.
My name is Evelyn King, and I'm here to advocate for all children.
Could you just state what city you live in, please?
I'm sorry, Albany.
Thank you.
I'm here to advocate for all children that are being bullied within the Albany Public School system, especially special needs students. I just have a definition of bullying and just some type of some data for you. The definition of bullying is unwanted aggressive behavior among school-age children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. I went on the website stopbullying.gov for this information. 3 types of bullying: verbal, social, and physical. Bullying affects everyone: those who are bullied, those who bully, and those who witness bullying. Bullying is linked to many negative outcomes, including impacts on mental health, substance use, and suicide. Bullying and youth with disabilities and special needs. Children with disabilities such as physical, developmental, and intellectual, emotional, and sensory disabilities are at an increased risk of being bullied. Prevention strategies. Bullying can threaten students' physical, emotional safety at school and can negatively impact their ability to learn. The best way to stop bullying is to stop it before it starts. These are some strategies that I looked within the city school district student harassment, bullying, and prevention and intervention document that I was given. So integrate bully prevention program within classroom instruction, district-wide professional development and instruction, curricular material to raise awareness about the dangers of bullying, such as soliciting the help of the Anti-Defamation League. The Anti-Defamation League has a variety of anti-bullying programs that can help minimize bullying within the Albany Public School system. Dignity Act coordinators could communicate with the ADL in order to bring much-needed anti-bullying programs within the Albany Public School District. So that is my statement, and I hope that the Albany Public School District could reach out to the Anti-Defamation League so they can help with this bullying problem because it's not going away. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. King. We're now going to hear from the final 2 candidates for the board vacancy appointment. And the first one is Ms. Tabitha Wilson. Ready when you are, Ms. Mills.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Superintendent, members of the board and respective committees. I am honored to be a fellow applicant and thankful so many are willing to step forward and rise to the level of commitment this position requires. In the interest of time, I will speak briefly about myself and then my vision for the role on the board. I work in a human service agency, specifically child support, where we deal with millions of dollars collected through our state and federal enforcement activities, and distribute them throughout our 57 counties so we can help New York State children and families in their efforts to be self-sufficient. Aside from my fiscal responsibilities, I enjoy volunteering on projects and activities to innovate and improve the delivery of services we provide. I am a collaborative and supportive team member, and my mantra is to face adversity with creativity. Outside of work, I serve as an advocate for my family, friends, and community. Much of my time and talents are devoted to volunteer efforts, including planning and coordinating community events, serving on nonprofit boards, fundraising for projects, including the Grant Street Community Arts Center and radio station, and the New Leaders Council Fellowship Institute. I mentor with Sponsor a Scholar and recently began as an Albany youth soccer coach. I am also a community participant in the Albany High Receivership Community Engagement Team, as well as the Albany High Family Advisory Board. In many of these roles, my organizational skills, visionary ideas, and attention to detail leads me to rise to a position of leadership. And in my letter, I did mention I am a member of the millennial demographic group, and I feel this is a game-changing opportunity for our district. We are poised to be the next leadership and policy-making group, and engaging and activating this force within our schools, I think, is paramount. I also prioritize the economic development and financial stability of our city as being intrinsically related to the quality of our schools and the well-rounded preparedness of our students for career, entrepreneurship, and enterprise. Our objective as a school district is comprised of attracting families, retaining graduates, and developing the future leaders and change makers to take the reins in our society. I have experience serving, working with, or am a member of almost every demographic group or marginalized community we will encounter as a district, included but not limited to immigrants, refugee, LGBTQIA, people of color, as well as individuals who have developmental or learning disabilities. English may be their second language, working class, working poor, impoverished, children in public, private, and charter schools, as well as interacting with parents and guardians daily at my work. Aside from academic difficulties, I am aware of our students' challenges, included but not limited to food scarcity, human and sex trafficking, violence, or substance abuse in the home. My life work is helping others and offering my creativity and ingenuity for the greater good and building community. I aim to broaden the scope and realm of possibility for success, and my goals are to nurture a growth mentality in our students, faculty, staff, and our community.
The wow is because that was right on target with time. That was pretty amazing. Thank you so much, Ms. Wilson. We appreciate it. Kenneth Bruce.
Good evening. My name is Kenny Bruce, and I reside in the city of Albany. I sat in this very same position in June 2014 to promote my cause for selection for the Albany School Board. My presentation then focused on my professional background, and I suggested that the board should concentrate more resources on the most significantly challenged students, Black and brown boys. As you know, I was appointed and then elected the following November. I served on the board for almost 3 years and served as president for a year. Rather than provide my resume or background, I think it's of sufficient knowledge to the board. I'll just provide some comments. Through my tenure, there were major philosophical differences between me and various board members. I believe that the difference revolved around how the board holds school district staff accountable and around how much information we should share with our community. I'm here today not expecting to get appointed, but because I am a son of Albany and I care very deeply about the people of the city, and in particular the city's children. So frequently in this school district, we focus on the good things going on, but the board as the governance team for what is essentially a government trust must focus on improving the areas that are not functioning properly or efficiently. Over the same 4 years that a student attends Albany High School to prepare to attend Harvard University, about 1,400 students fail to graduate and drop out of school. The time it takes for one student to prepare for Harvard, 1,400 students fail to graduate and drop out of our school district. It is so easy to celebrate the success of one student, but the board must look for solutions for the other 1,400 students who didn't graduate and do the necessary hard work. It truly matters. I grew up near what was then the worst corner in Arbor Hill. Education directly and indirectly provided me with wonderful opportunities. Far too many of Albany's children see their possibility for productive careers in our school system. Education matters, and it represents the best chance for poor people to change their family's plight. Governance of the school district has become a focal point of the mayoral race. Except for a small segment of the population, the Albany community no longer trusts that this board can effectively govern this school district. I don't expect that you will appoint me, but I encourage you to appoint someone who brings a different and diverse opinion, someone that the people of this city can look up to. As has become obvious to everyone lately, race matters and representation matters. I would also urge you to appoint someone who will lead and not just follow the group and vote with the group to make it unanimous. Leadership absolutely matters. The board must look for creative solutions to long-term
Please finish up, Mr.
systemic
Bruce.
problems. Please aim high and be bold.
Thank you. We are now on to routine consent. May I get a motion to accept routine consent? Ms. Smith, seconded by Ms. Roach. Any set-asides?
I just need to set aside the human resources addendum, or agenda. I'm looking for the letter. It is K, letter K, the human resources agenda.
Any other set-asides? Seeing none, all those in favor of accepting routine consent? And that is unanimous. And before I go on to K, since we've just, well, let's just do K and then I'll make my statement. Can I get a motion to accept HR, which is
K.
K? Motion, Dr. Chator, seconded by Ms. Smith. Discussion.
I just had a very simple question, which is K8A, which is a .4 music at Montessori. Is that an additional staffing? Somebody?
No.
Madam,
If it went in, oh, I'm so sorry.
Madam President, members of the board, Vice President Savage. Karen, if you will respond, please.
Thank you. No, that's not a new position. That is the position that Brian Cady had, and then we adjusted his schedule to move him more at Ash. As a result, that .4 was open. I think the reason it came back as new because there was a person that had been appointed, and then that person took another full-time position with us, and so I think there was some confusion about identifying it that way, but it is not new.
Okay, thank you very much.
All those in favor of accepting K? That is unanimous. And two things I want to say first. Oh, that's what I thought K was. I thought that was the entry for all of HR. Right. And we just voted on it. The motion was for K. So first I wanted to welcome Matthew Petrin, who is now our Director of Human HR, Human Resources. Did you want?
At this time, we would like Mr. Petron to just say a few words of thank you and just kind of introduce yourself to the board. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've lived in Albany about 12 years now, call it my home, and I'm looking forward to joining the district and supporting the mission. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Petrin. Thank you. I also want to point out something that was part of routine consent by actually just saying a few words about Dr. Kimberly Young Wilkins. We accepted the resignation of Dr. Wilkins today as part of our routine consent. And Dr. Wilkins' last day in the district after more than 2 decades, going on 3 decades, is actually today. And she'll be starting as the Assistant Commissioner for Innovation and School Reform tomorrow at the New York State Education Department. And we are grateful to Dr. Wilkins for her leadership throughout her career, and especially during the very past 18 months that she served as our interim superintendent. She has been a tireless and dedicated advocate for all of the students and families in this district, and we are a better board, a better district, a better community for all of the contributions that Dr. Wilkins has given to us over the past 25 years. We wish her the best at State Ed and hope that she brings to it the same passion and dedication we know that she has brought to us all these years. So on behalf of the board, we thank her very, very much in accepting her resignation. Superintendent Adams, we now have something wonderful and bittersweet, and if you will lead us in terms of the renaming now for the Alternative Learning Center. And Ms. Newell, if you'll join her.
President Adler, members of the board, we would now like the family of Tony Clement to please come forward.
Good evening. I'm Jennifer Clement, and these are my children, Anthony Clement and David Clement. My husband was Anthony Ikiobi Clement, better known as Tony. I'd like to thank Superintendent Adams, former Superintendent Wilkins, School Board President Adler, and the other members of the school board for the motion tonight to rename the Alternative Learning Center to the Tony Clement Center for Education.
I'm just going to hold this. I'm just going to hold it. Good evening to our superintendent, members of the board. It is with great honor that I have the opportunity to actually speak about what Jen knows that we jokingly call my work husband, Tony Clement. I've known him for most of my career. When I started off in Arbor Hill, he was actually my assistant principal. And when I left Arbor Hill to go to Albany High School, I was his assistant principal. And it is bittersweet, and Jen, you were supposed to get through what you're supposed to get through. But, you know, the relationship between a principal and assistant principal is like that of a marriage, and a lot of times we would be in the office very late, and we would be pushing each other out the door to get to our families, and I would say to him, you better get home because Jen is going to kill you. You need to really, let's go. And we would spend hours just, you know, worried about our kids and working hard and staying late and not eating lunch and, you know, just trying to make it through to make a difference. And when people leave before their time, I realize in the life that I've lived that they leave because the impact on others is so great that it's not really a loss. It's something that you get to continue to keep with you. So there were things that he had left in all of us that is still a part of my life today. So it's not something that we should mourn. It is such an honor to be here to speak to him on his family's behalf, which I love so much. And I'm proud of what we are able to do for him. So because he made us work harder, he made us be better, and he loved his family. He talked about you guys all the time. Very proud of his heritage, and I learned so much about his life and his world. And I was so appreciative to be able to share this other part of him. And I just wanted to say that, you know, just having his name embedded in the school is something that that I think we all will cherish, and I hope that we make sure that we talk to the children year after year after year about why the school is named what it is and what it means. And because, you know, a school with someone's name is a very deep thing to do. So that is my hope, my prayer, and and I would like to thank everyone for supporting the naming of the school. And thank you, Jen. Now she can finish.
Thank you. That gave me a second to gather myself so I can go on. I appreciate that. Tony came to this country from Nigeria to attend college. He was just 18 years old. He came alone with no family at all. He sought out opportunities for betterment and eventually found his home here in Albany, where he dedicated his entire career to educating our youth. I would be remiss if I did not recognize Tony's unfaltering team, a team of teachers, administrators, building personnel, and staff. Those of you who were ever on his team, you know exactly who you are. I thank you for continuing to honor him. Your vast expertise in your fields within education is what energized Tony every single day. As you know most, Tony created an environment where the expectations were extremely high. He propelled everyone around him to be better, to do more, and accomplish great things. I miss that about him most. To the students that had the honor of meeting him and those who may now be influenced by having heard his story, he cared about you most.
He believed in providing limitless opportunities to be successful. He believed that no student was beyond the point of making change. His favorite students may not have had all straight A's. His favorite students were actually those that kept him up at night, thinking about different ways of reaching them. To those students, I hope you know how much he believed in you. On behalf of our entire family, both here and all of those still in Nigeria, I thank you for recognizing Tony's profound dedication and commitment to the youth of the Albany City School District. We are honored to know that Tony's hard work is so remembered and now memorialized. Thank you.
This concludes our presentation.
May I get a motion to, should I wait till the superintendent comes back, or? I was going to wait for the superintendent and said, may I get a motion, please, to rename the ALC, the Alternative Learning Center, the Tony Clement Center for Education. Dr. Chatur, seconded by Ms. Roach. All those in favor? And that passes. Yes, Dr. Chatur.
I just want to reflect on it this thought. Yesterday we opened the International Center, and today we are naming a school after an immigrant. So this is something that I want everybody to realize, that it doesn't matter where you come from, what color you are. If you have a dream, you can succeed. You just have to work hard.
Thank you very much for making that statement. Thank you. We are on to discussion facilities right now. Mr. Hogan and team.
Good evening. I have with me Scott DePhillips with Turner Construction and Rich Peckham with CS Arch. And Rich will begin the presentation.
And last but not least, Ms. Tina Massetti.
Ah, Tina!
Massetti Sayas. I'm sorry, I was just saying Massetti. But yes, you quietly got to the table. It was not a gender thing.
All right. Also from CS Arch. Yes.
But how do we get to the high school?
Oh, we're supposed to be.
No. This isn't the report? No. Okay.
Second one. That one's next after this.
They saw you as part of the high school.
There we go. We wanted to give the board a brief update this evening on all of the construction work that's gone on over the summer. And really, we're going to talk about two aspects of capital construction for the district this evening. One being the district-wide renovations, phase 3 of that work, which had a total project budget of about $3.9 million. And then the Edmund J. O'Neill Middle School of Excellence with a total project budget of $6,525,000, which means we're working on projects this summer that total a little over $10.5 million. As everybody knows, summer construction seasons are very short. From the day the kids walked out till the day the kids are coming back is about 10 weeks. Give a little bit of time for teachers to get in classrooms, district gets stuff cleaned up. It's not a very long time, which means that we've done about $1 million worth of work a week over the summer on average. And that's a testament to the whole team, the design team, the construction team, and the district's facilities team that we're able to pull this all together in this period of time. So just to highlight some of the major aspects of the work that was done this summer on the district-wide renovations. At Toast, we did a complete renovation of the auditorium, and at Toast, the other scope item is to replace certain interior doors that had not been replaced previously. And so this is just kind of a couple pictures. The smaller picture in the upper left is what the auditorium looked like before we did the renovations, relatively dark wood seats. And the larger picture is what the auditorium looks like now, much brighter and with new seats, new curtains, new acoustical treatments to make it not only an educational space, but also a better performance space. At Arbor Hill, as part of the work, we replaced the interior railings of the building. We'll look at a couple of pictures of that. We reconstructed the parking lot, and there were some of the air handlers that moved the air through the building that were replaced as part of this project. So again, sorry for the darkness of the lower picture, but you can see before we had railings that had horizontal rails, and they were below the height the current code requires. So we replaced those with railings that were higher, and with also with a mesh infill instead of the horizontal rails, so they're not a tendency for any student to try to climb those railings. At Harriet Gibbons, we did a little bit of work there. We reconstructed the rest of the parking lot that we didn't do last summer. And then we enclosed the structure, so maintenance has an enclosed area to work on their vehicles, on their snow blowers, their equipment, and in the inclement weather, and be more productive so they could better maintain the buildings. And so there you can see in the upper left is the picture of this open pavilion they used before, so they were just undercover. And below right is a progress photo, because the doors have not been installed on the maintenance structure yet. But that will be completed, and there's moderate level of heat in there, so they'll be able to do work in the winter on the equipment. So that leads us, one other piece of the district-wide project that we did not put a slide in for is the work we did at Brooklyn. We reconstructed the parking lot there, created a basketball court area for the district classes that are housed completely at that building for physical education, and also did lighting replacements inside, converting the lighting that was 40 years old to new technology LED lighting to give better lighting quality as well as energy savings for the district.
Yeah, the only addition to the Brooklyn piece is that in your board materials this evening, there's 2 change orders. They don't require board approval at that level. They just are there for informational purposes, but both change orders just deal with when we had to go down the street about 120 feet to connect to the city's water system for all of the drainage on the property. So both of those change orders relate to that work.
Just wanted to highlight, because this sign just went up today, so the building is officially signed now as the Edmund J. O'Neill Middle School of Excellence. So when the just to highlight some of the scope items that were completed in this building over the summer. We upgraded spaces for special programs for science, family and consumer sciences, technology education, and music. As the superintendent noted in her report, work on the gymnasium to increase seating capacity, improve the acoustics, provide a stage in the gym, replace the floor is ongoing and will be complete in about 3 weeks. So here's a photograph of the media center. We didn't do a lot of work in there, but it got numerous new library books, about 4,000 new library books in there as part of the project, plus the works they moved over from West Hill. And your librarians worked very hard to get that organized and ready for the first day of school. This is a picture of the Family and Consumer Science Room before the tables and appliances were put in. As you can imagine, a lot of work's happened in the past week, so it probably looks a lot different than that even as we speak now, because I'm sure that district staff are still there tonight cleaning and moving materials into the building. Science classrooms, we had existing classrooms that had no water, no sinks. We had to make science classrooms capable for middle school education. So we have new science tables in those rooms, new cabinetry and sinks for them to be able to do their science experiments. And the cords you see hanging from the ceiling are so that they could get power down to the desks area. So if they need to bring microscopes over or other equipment that needs electricity, they can organize the room for lab work there. This is just the music room, the large music room where the instrumental and orchestra lessons and practices will take place. And when I was over there earlier today, there's now cases of instruments lined up against the wall ready to go into the storage cases and be used by the students starting next week. This is just all through the process. We've talked that getting a functioning kitchen in the building so they can actually serve lunch to the number of students that are going to be there was a prime concern, and also a schedule concern that Turner's always had and had to manage very closely to get this all done, from the lead time on the equipment, just getting it there, plus all the contractors and all the work that had to be done. Yesterday, we received health department approval for use of the kitchen, so it's up and running. When I was there this afternoon, there is food in the freezer, there's food in the refrigerator, so it looks like the district will be ready to serve lunch on Tuesday there. And that kind of completes my report on this renovation work. Do you want to add anything, Scott? No, perfectly done.
So, Mr. Hogan, if it is okay with you, what I thought we'd do is break it up so the questions would go to this part before we move on to anything else. So we'll start with Dr. Chatour's side. No questions, Ms. Lang? Ms. Roach?
I just wanted to say, you know, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, so thank you for providing these pictures. They really helped show exactly the magnitude of the work. And I think it might be helpful to talk about, you said some of the things, including the gym, would be ready in 3 weeks. Can you go into a little more detail about that and how that's going to work?
President Adler, members of the board, Member Roach, we have worked with the principals, both Malik and Candy, with regard to how those academic services will be facilitated for students for PE. They were in agreement that the 25th was the best option with regard to if there was a delay with the gym, when that would fall on the timeline. And so they are working to use other classrooms, to use the cafeteria. While the weather is nice, we are using the outdoor area. And so they are going to be able to facilitate physical education instruction over those 3 weeks with alternate plans.
Thank you so much, Superintendent Adams. Ms. Roach, anything else? Ms. Smith?
Just really a thank you. I've sort of been at meetings with many of these folks for a number of weeks and months, and I just want to thank you very much for your work and dedication to the district.
Ms. Savage?
I want to add my thanks. I don't think anybody thought it would be as seamless as you all made it look. But I do have to ask the question that one has to ask, which is, were there any major changes of scope to accommodate our limited budget, or anything else we need to know about what happened in the project that you may be masked by your ability to be so seamless, that we should know about? Because I know we're not over budget, because we're not allowed to go over budget, so that I know.
I guess one of the changes was we originally thought we could connect to the existing drainage system of the city, but with some of the issues they've been having with flooding, we were actually had to go down the street about 120 feet to get into a storm-only drain, and the one we were in currently was a combined one. So it's better for the city overall, but that was something that we had to deal with, and that created time delays as well. We also spent a considerable amount of time, there was 3 or 4 neighbors adjacent to our property, and working with them. And one of the things, we initially weren't going to put up a fence between our property line and theirs. They had a lot of concerns and in terms of penetration through that area. So we did agree to go ahead and put about 120 feet of 8-foot fence up, and also pull the fence back about 5 feet onto our property line, so that they could have access to their buildings. They have garages there, and there's only about sometimes 6 inches of property they own beyond their actual garage. So we tried to work closely with the neighbors and accommodate them. And also the fill between the fence and their garages, we asked for their assistance in maintaining that, because the fence, obviously, from the district side would be better if there wasn't a fence. It's much easier to maintain. It's much more visible. So when we asked them to assist with the maintenance, if someone puts litter or something back there, they asked for crushed stone, so it wouldn't have to be mowed or maintained. So for ease of maintenance for them, we made that accommodation as well.
I appreciate that, and that is actually, just for clarification, that is an update to the Brooklyn project. So, do you?
I mean, that was an answer to my question, which was, were there any modifications? I did mean about, I was particularly interested in O'Neill, because that was the bigger part of it, but of course, I'm interested in what's happening at Brooklyn as well. But if more changes were made at Brooklyn than at O'Neill, that would be quite amazing.
There weren't a lot of changes during construction on O'Neill. We were facing a very tight budget, and we kept that in line as we went along. There was some additional data cabling required, and some additional cabling that's that for security cameras to enhance the security features of the building that are being added in, and most of the changes were really relative to just routine construction issues when you're dealing with an existing building.
Thank you very, very much, and I'll just conclude by echoing everybody's comments, which is this was such, at the time, seemed like a Herculean task, and to us, it does seem seamless. So thank you for making it seem that way. There was, that concern, that nail biting of whether students would be entering on day one ready to go, and so thank you for the professionalism of getting the work done and getting it done in time. So thank you so much. Now we'll move on to the high school.
We're just going to give an update as to where we are with the high school project. So overall schedule, we'll cover first. The Phase 1 classroom addition, we are still targeting occupancy of fall of 2019. Phase 2, which is the art and music addition, partial classroom building, which now also will include the media center and the new main entrance. We are looking at partial occupancy in 2020 and then full occupancy of 2021. Phase 3, which is the gymnasium and athletic renovations, occupancy of fall 2023, and Phase 4, the last phase, which will connect all the phases, the courtyard infill, and complete the renovations in the existing classroom building, is scheduled for occupancy of fall in 2025. Phase 1 schedule, we're just completing construction documents. We have a scheduled SED face-to-face review in December 7th, in fact. We expect approval and sometime in January. We'll be planning at this point, we are continuing on refining the drawings and preparing for bidding and awarding between February and March of 2018, with construction scheduled for April of 2018 through December of 2019. So this is just a quick plan of the existing building, where you can see the existing classroom building, the gymnasium, and the auditorium, just to orient everyone. Phase 1, which is at the back of the existing gym, the 3-story classroom addition, which will hold 72 classrooms in total, 21 of which are specialized classrooms, so science classrooms and computer rooms, a main administration suite, and actually, you can go to the next slide. You can see from the legend, the main administration suite is on the right-hand side, which is actually the academy suite. So the principals and vice principals, social workers, guidance, and some of the support spaces in between. This gives you a sense of what the building is going to look like between phases 1 and phase 2. So you can see that the 3-story classroom addition, which is sort of in the foreground of the page, is then backed with the pool behind it and the existing courtyard and the existing classroom building. And you'll start to see the changes, as the phases continue on. So we are currently working on phase 2 as well in schematic design. We'll start design development in the next month or two in October, which will continue on through January of 2018. At that point, we'll switch over to producing construction documents, and we anticipate SED review and approval in December of 2018. Again, looking to bid in somewhere between January and February, the fall in 2019, with construction starting the spring of 2019. Currently, we're working continuously on programming still, so meeting with groups. We've had second and third round programming meetings already with the theater and art department and the music department. So we continue to develop those drawings and the spaces to accommodate those departments. We have some additional meetings set up for some of the larger spaces, for some of the main CTE spaces, including cosmetology, and also the media center. That's the other big piece for phase 2 that we're beginning to work on. This is these are overall plans, just to remind everybody what Phase 2, which is the addition at the front of the building. So this is actually the first floor, which you don't really see from Washington Avenue. But the second floor is really the main entrance from Washington Avenue, so you'll see the first bar on the left-hand side, which is the music and wing addition. That's a two-story addition, so music on the second floor and art above, the existing auditorium that will be refacing, as well as essentially gutting and repurposing for improved performance space. And the entrance that then connects the existing classroom building to the auditorium. The front portion of the existing building will then become the media center. The third floor, like I said, the art addition stacks above the music spaces. There'll be some additional smaller spaces above the main entrance, including a distance learning lab, a small gallery space, and some additional digital labs. Above the media center, part of the media center is a two-story space, so it's a nice open area space that is visible both from the outside and from the entrance, with general classrooms that are suited for foreign language right now. And then you can start to see now how the building starts to shape itself. So on the sort of left-hand side, the art and the music and art addition, the main entrance that starts to make the connection between the front portion of the existing classroom building, and what you see is the courtyard now starting to become enclosed with some of the new spaces. And in the end, it'll look something like this. This is the site plan that I'm not sure you've seen. I don't know if we showed this last time, but this is beginning to show the development of the parking and all the circulation around the space, and some of the walkways that are used by both students and visitors to circulate between the building and to the fields and from the sidewalk into the building. Next steps, we are, like I said, completing construction documents so that we can submit Phase 1. We continue detailing programming for Phase 2 and refining the phasing in general. And then at some point, we will begin programming for Phases 3 and 4 as well.
Thank you so very much. Ms. Roach?
I just wanted to thank you for the presentation. It answered a lot of the questions that we've had, and I'm excited about the work ahead.
Ms. Lang? Dr. Chatar? Ms. Smith? Ms. Savage? I'm good too. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Superintendent Adams, we are now up to the discussion of DSIP and SEP year-end report.
Thank you very much, and our team will move forward.
Good evening, Board of Education. Tonight, the instructional core team is here to give you the report on the DSIP and the SEPs from 2016-2017. You should have received very lengthy reports for both. We're trying to keep our PowerPoint down to some highlights so that you can ask your questions based on either this presentation or the reports that you've seen. We wanted to let you know that for DSIP Tenet 2, which had a focus on school building leadership, we did reach complete, how did I put it? We completely satisfied what it is that we set out to do for Tenet 2. We completed the activities and we achieved the measurable results. In Tenet 5, we also successfully reached the measurable goal. Suspensions were reduced by 7%. Which was a real accomplishment. We still have some activities to complete in that tenant, but the data that we used to support the work of that tenant was actually achieved. All other tenants, many of them were partially achieved, and in the report, we identify sometimes why we may not have gotten there. I think actually we have expressed on more than one occasion how the DSIP has emerged over the last 2 years as really a continual improvement document. And each year we are really focused on many of the same things, and we get better and better at doing those things to improve instruction. So we will, we started talking about data-informed instruction, social-emotional, best practice strategies, and then as the years have gone on, we've fine-tuned those things to get to where we are now. And 2017-18 DSIP actually reflects much of what we did in 16-17. I actually think I probably said most of what's on the on this particular one with the DSIP next steps. Anything that is incomplete has really been incorporated into the 17-18 DSIP. And again, we continues the cycle of continuous improvement, and we will continue to focus on system building at the district and school building level. That's it for DSIP.
So in the SEP closeout report, you should have noticed that we tried to emulate what was actually in their SEP writing document for the coming school year by lifting out the percentage of activities, goals that were accomplished and how completely they were accomplished. So that made up the first part of the SEP closeout report. The second part, we asked them to actually report out on their on their goals, whether or not they were accomplished and why they thought they were or were not. Which I thought was a great reflective activity for our principals as they look at implementing their SEPs for this school year. So in total, we looked across the trends and we found that 50% of schools accomplished 50% or more of their goals. Primarily, those fell in 2 areas where they saw the most success, and that was most schools had a target of 3% growth for subgroups or 3% growth for all students in NWA, ELA, and math. And most schools had a goal or a target around decreasing student discipline referrals and decreasing suspensions, which they saw success in. So those were the primary successes of the schools who accomplished their goals. As you could see, the majority of schools implemented 50% or more of their activities, but I think our buildings, and we've talked about this a lot, are learning about what activities are actually the high leverage activities that have impact on their building versus just listing out lovely things that they would like to do throughout the course of the school year. Some people really reflected on, even though we made our goal, were the activities that we selected the real reason we made our goal, or was it a fluke that we made our goal? Like really being able to tie the activities that they've selected to the impact they're having in their building. 58% of schools identified that some subgroups, if not all, it demonstrated improvement in academic achievement, and a lot of them credited that to their work in looking more closely at data and using that to drive their instruction. Our lowest percentage was around increasing parent engagement. It's a conversation we've had on this floor in relation to SEPs a great deal, and it's an area that we genuinely struggle with in our schools, some schools more than others. One school in particular was very disappointed in the efforts that they put forth versus the results that they got back, but are hoping now that they're moving into a community schools model that they'll have more success in reaching out to parents in a way that's meaningful to them. What is very important, I think, to note is that the majority of schools indicated that the majority of their activities were funded. The funding that they get from the SIG A Basic is sufficient for the activities that they're attempting to carry out and what they can spend that on. And finally, the majority of schools identified Tenet 5 as the area where their buildings experienced the most growth, again, looking at those decrease in discipline numbers and really increasing the focus of keeping children in the classrooms that they're available for learning.
Next steps, we always have them. So the New York State Education Department has shifted to a new model for reviewing the school's comprehensive education plans. They are only reviewing our priority schools and the plans that they have submitted. It is now up to the district to review the focus schools plans. So Cecily, myself, Karen, and Michelle Bridgewater attended a training back in July to get calibrated in order to review and provide feedback and approve the plans for our focus schools. We have been calibrated, that's a good thing, and we have provided feedback to our schools. We have not received, however, feedback on our priority schools plans, so we're waiting for that feedback. We were promised to receive feedback by August 31st. However, as of late, we do not have feedback, so we're hoping to get that feedback soon. As soon as the plans have been reviewed and revised, we will post those as required to our district website for the public to review. Schools will begin implementing plans in September. However, I do believe that they have started the implementation planning over the summer in some of the tenants. There are two other things that I wanted to add that have really grown over the last year and will continue to grow under the leadership of Kent Baker and Tricia Wolf through the development of a data dashboard to support the monitoring of the SMART goals. We have not been in a position up until this point to do that. Trish and Kent have been working tirelessly to ensure that we do have a data dashboard for our schools and the building leadership teams to use to monitor their SMART goals in order to determine whether they're making progress. In addition to the mid-year report that we will submit to the Board of Education for the implementation of the SEP plans, principals will submit quarterly reports to Cecily and myself to ensure that they are on target to meet the goals identified. So when we get to that mid-year report, hopefully we will have minimal mid-course corrections.
Thank you all. Dr. Chator?
I'm really looking forward to seeing this in the dashboard, so it'd be easy to track across schools. I mean, looking at these reports, I mean, of the 12 schools, a third of them couldn't meet, at limited degree, fewer than 20% of the goals achieved. That's appalling.
It's interesting when you read the explanations given by the different buildings, because I think the explanations are all a little bit different. Some buildings, we weren't fully staffed, we didn't have these pieces, blah, blah, blah. Other buildings, we didn't choose the right activities, and we know we didn't choose the right activities because we didn't get the impact that we wanted. We didn't make the revisions we were supposed to. So I think this process really forced principals to really think about, why did I get the results that I got, and forced them to kind of close the loop on last year's plan, which hasn't happened before, as they go into next year's plan to be able to make that
some
difference.
of the schools, they saw that we saw improvement in 4th and 5th grade, but we saw a decrease in the first, second, third grades. And I was hoping that with all the implementation that happened the last year, the new cohort of kids would be.
So what's typical when you implement new curriculum resources is that you will see an implementation dip. However, in most of our schools, we did not see that K2 in ELA, and we did not see that 3-5 in math, where we did implement new resources. It was very interesting to see the schools that made gains in math 3-5, particularly in New York State testing, even though that's not incorporated here, were some of our schools that haven't seen progress in those areas in a very long time, and now they have a curriculum resource in their hand, and they're beginning to get some traction in that area. Literacy, I think, is difficult because we're measuring that with NWEA, where our students are listening to that test, et cetera, and those literacy resources were not available 3-5 to have an impact on the entire system. So, we've chosen very strategically to go slow to go fast, to say we're going to just do this piece in K2 and just do this piece in 3-5, so that we can begin to build the foundation that we know we need in order for students to be successful right from the beginning.
We're certainly headed in the right direction.
I think another piece to add is, as we work with our teachers on understanding the data that they are receiving and how do we use that data specifically to drive instruction, what am I really learning as I look at the item analysis from our reports? What is that saying about my instruction? And not that instruction starts from a bad place, it can start from a very high level, but I could be the best teacher in the world, but if I'm teaching X And my favorite analogy is if I have the playbook and I'm teaching you to play football, and then I give you a basketball and put you on the court, I may have done an outstanding job in teaching you how to play football, but my expectation is that you're playing basketball. And so we want to make sure that in analyzing the data, that they're able to, number one, interpret the data accurately so that they can focus in on what about the curriculum that they need to make those mid-course corrections and those adjustments as they then change that instruction to meet the needs of the students.
Thank you.
Ms. Lang.
I'll start with the cohorts where there was the varied. They're still not what the cohort did last year. We're seeing the fifth grade from this year and last year, but we're not seeing that fifth grade as a fourth grade. And so, you know, how do we incorporate whether or not these children are succeeding, or you just got a different group of students that particular year, and that's why, because there is so many of them are subtle changes, 2%, 3%, 4%, up or down. Very few are dramatic, and one student, two students could change whether or not, but I'm just looking at total different cohorts. So I was wondering if you could talk about that.
When we provide you with the academic report on the New York State data and the NWEA data, we will dig more deeply into that cohort data so that we can present that. The SEPs really are focused on that NWEA in that particular way to measure, but when we will go deeper when we provide the academic report, probably very soon, shortly.
I think that's next month. Yeah. Anything else? No? Oh, we'll do one and we'll go back. Ms. Roach.
I just wanted to say thank you for the report and for the presentation. I found the end of the year report broken out by school to be easier to understand than some of the past reports that are in the format that goes to the state. I could understand what the schools did, why they did it, and then what happened as a result. So that was helpful for me. Thanks.
Ms. Smith? Ms. Savage?
I just wanted to say thank you to Dr. Wilson-Turner for the last comment about what's really different now. What's really different now is that we're actually using the plan, and that we're not just implementing the plan and then hoping for the best, but we're implementing the plan and evaluating where our successes and our lack of successes, and then using that evaluation to change the plan in the future. And that's what's really different. And that's what's going to move us forward, and that's this concept of continuous improvement that we all know that we want to be doing and we are starting to do. And I have a lot of faith that that's going to bring us to a new place, which we know we need to get to.
Second round, Dr. Chator. Ms. Lang, all you.
And also, well, I have one quick comment or question, and then I'll have a second question. The New York State test versus the NWEA, will that also be in the academic plan? Will you? Okay.
Yes.
So I won't. And my other question is, you talked about how different focus schools now, where your team will be implementing that. Are you going to follow the same plan? Is that, but you don't have to submit that to the state, or you do have to submit that? Just complete. So do we have to do that as a district, or is that something we're doing?
So the only thing that it all pretty much stays the same. Every school that's identified priority or focus still gets their DTSDE review. Every school still has to write their school comprehensive education plan. But and then Lori, myself, and Michelle this year did extensive feedback on every plan before they came to the board table. And then we got the surprise in July that, oh, guess what? Once you submit them to the state, we're not doing feedback for those focus schools. That's your job now. We're only doing the priority schools. So the process stays the same. So what their goal was is to train us in the way that they review and provide feedback so that we're calibrated so that it's consistent across priority and focus school.
The state will still be coming into our schools and doing the same thing. They're just not providing the feedback that for the focus schools.
So they always will come in for the review process. They never come in to physically do anything with the SEPs. We send them to them. But this year, and actually it might be no schools, but right now we only have one school that will receive a state review because all of our schools have received a state review within the last 2 years, and that's all that's required. So Lori and myself, Karen and Michelle, will be providing all the district-led reviews for the district this year.
I just want to thank you, and I'm just shaking my head, not about you. I'm shaking my head because it appears as if, the burden now comes on to the district for work that SED, because there's a lot of empty positions that have not been filled through the state process. And so not only did we start doing our own DITSEs, and we can argue it's better to do them or SED doing them, but we started to see where DITSEs in the past years back, they did them. We had guest DITSE people coming in from outside. Then we also had SED. Then we started doing all the DTSDs ourselves, it seemed like. And now in addition to that, we're actually doing the actual critique of our own plans. And I'm not criticizing it, I'm just saying I wish we could get some of the additional income for doing the extra work.
I will say, the good thing is that the feedback that we've received in the past, and even Erica Meeker, who leads this work at State Ed, said it was inconsistent because they had to bring in so many outside consultants to provide the feedback that, you'd get, wow, this was great from one reviewer, and if you gave them that same report to somebody else, it would be ripped to shreds. And so it should allow for more consistency, at least for that feedback for administrators.
And I think in that sense, we've learned from seeing the DITSEs that you all have done over the years that we do have a very critical eye, that sometimes we are equal as harsh, but what we do have that some of the outside people that came and actually cut their teeth on our district over the last few years sometimes was that we understand our population as well, where sometimes we got people who were brand new, they were not from the States, and they didn't understand our system, and they didn't understand urban cities, urban populations. So in that sense, it might be a good thing, but I certainly know you don't have enough hours in the day anyway. So, but thank you for making, lemonade out of lemons on that one. Thanks so much. Board committee reports. Anybody? So board committee reports, we have the facilities committee, Ms. Smith.
Yes, I just really, I think that Mr. Hogan and our architect and all of those folks provided us with quite a detailed update. We will be continuing that work in our facilities committees. I apologize, I think our next meeting is the end of the month, and we'll make sure you see that on our web. So public, feel free to attend that. So we're moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything from policy or government relations? Oh, yes, you were somewhere.
I'll just say I met with Representative Tonko's office and Congressmember Tonko, and a lot of the talk was about the funding, the tier funding, mental health, education, whether or not there was going to be a universal cut percentage across the board that was coming down. And the Congressman was very supportive of us. He spoke extensively about the newcomers program and the work that we're doing there. It was very successful. There were 3 or 4 other school board or districts, school board members there, district Schenectady being one as well. But we did talk about our need, our funding needs, and it was a good meeting.
And thank you so much for attending that during vacation time. I appreciate it. Anything on wellness committee?
No, to the best of my knowledge, the Wellness Committee hasn't met over the summer, or if they have met, they have not informed. It's been a partial meeting that I was not aware of.
We can't even say that it's late to hear that. So, all right, it's 20 to 9. But yes, so as soon as the Wellness Committee starts meeting again, we look forward to some updates from them. Anything on policy, Ms. Savage? No. All right, that seems to be it. Other business items? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn? Ms. Smith, seconded by Ms. Savage. All in favor? Thank you all.
Just covering my bases. That is a world record. I haven't even had time to get hungry for a cookie.